me show you some examples of some articles. These are from the articles from Chapter 7. This one's about the therapeutic group work. Just give you some information. When you get down in the sample instruments of an article, it really will kind of describe what the article is about. So, for example, it shows you what their group was here and what attributes or how they divided those. So what they're interested in, this group of adolescent refugees from this part of Eastern Bloc nations. And really what they're interested in studying, the attributes they're interested in studying, is the separation from parents and what that has to do with traumatic experiences. But the problem with this is very difficult for them, or very difficult for the reader to ever establish what the hypothesis is in this. And they have a lot of information about the differences in male and female, which they don't ever really talk about up here in their sample, whether or not that has anything to do with the study that they're conducting. Here's where I'm talking about the level of significance. What they're saying is, for this scale TWS, you have to go back up here and read what TWS is, that the females' average score is 4.81, the males is 3.7. They have conducted this t-test, and they determine at the 0.0027 level that there's a significant difference between female and male, and that females score higher on this statistic than do the males. Females score higher on this one than this one. So, because all of these significance levels are less than 0.05 down to this number 7, there are significant differences between those two. On this one, because this number is higher than 0.05, even though these numbers here and here look different, they're not. Statistically, they are equal because this is not less than 0.05. It's greater than it. Show you another article. This one is enhancing motor skill development. What I want you to look at is down here in this table, it talks about the difference between each of these groups. And here's an example where they put what's called a t-test. So they've done a t-test to determine the difference between these two groups, two-tailed t-test. And what they want to know is if there's a difference between the control group and the treatment group. The control high group on this one and the treatment group on this one. And they've used an asterisk to indicate levels of significance. So the places where there's an asterisk means the difference between these two groups is significant, and it's less than 0.05. So, for example, there is a difference between homework high and homework low of 2, and the t-test for that is 2.21. It's significant at the 0.05 level. So that is a significant difference. That's another way that people portray things on here. And the last one is this multimedia one. And what they have done, the thing I want you to note in this article, is their research questions. It says, is there a significant difference between the mean post-test scores of college students who receive certain design, drafting, blah, 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 etc., to those who receive comparable information in traditional instruction format? So a hypothesis in that is that those two things are equal. And what they're trying to determine through their research, if you drop down, you take this question right here, you come down to the findings. It says the first research question asks if there's a significant difference between this and this. So if you read through here, you can determine whether or not there is. So this F score, and I know you don't know what an F score means, but that's okay right now, has a significance level of 0.05. So it'll tell you again in the article, a significant difference was detected between the two groups for this treatment effect, for the thing that they are interested in studying. The mean post-test scores, post-test-1 scores for the control group and for the treatment group. And it will tell you specifically that it was rejected. So that's just a few examples of articles that you'll be responsible for reading so that you can understand what some of this looks like that we're talking about. I can't emphasize again enough, this 0.05 level is your magic number. when you see that and it's less than 0.05, that's significant. That doesn't mean it's not important. That just means it's a significant difference. Sometimes there is no difference, and that's okay. We can live with that, because non-significant differences are important too. It's just important to determine there's not a difference between two things as there is to determine that there is a difference between those two things.